A very powerful statement to make to a coworker is prove it. Hey there, it's Erik J. Olson. When I was a young software developer, there were a couple of times where I would tell one of my senior programming colleagues that I figured something out or that something worked different than the way he thought it was supposed to work. And there were multiple times where this would happen. I would tell him something and he would say, "Oh, yeah, Erik, prove it." And he would make me actually create the code to make that thing happen that I was saying was happening. And, the first time that I heard it, I resented it. I thought, who's this guy to make me prove what it is that I said should be the case? But, but that first time that he asked me, even though I resented it, I went ahead and I tried to prove it. And guess what? I was wrong. I had assumed something. And by him saying, prove it, he challenged me, maybe in a aggressive, maybe that's the way to say it, aggressive kind of way. But he challenged me to actually confirm or prove that what I was saying was factual and correct. And guess what? The next time that that situation came up and he said, prove it, well, I already knew that I was going to be challenged and I had proof ready. Now, I didn't, actually have the code written, but I knew exactly where to go and I knew what I was talking about before I made the statement. And that's the key there, right? You need to know what you're talking about before you make a statement, or you at least need to caveat that what you're about to say is kind of sort of true. And, you'd have to check to get the facts right. And this happens a lot of times, right? Where people will say, they'll throw out a stat and they kind of sort of remember it, right? They read about it, they heard about it. Someone told them they don't really remember the source. They just kind of remember kind of sort of the gist of the story. They remember the gist of the story. But if you say, well, where did you read that? Um, I, I don't know, some blog post or something, right? Usually, if you challenge someone, like if you don't believe or if you're not sure that you want to take action on that data, I would recommend somehow challenging them and confirm the source. How did you arrive at that conclusion, right? You may not want to say, prove it like my senior developer did many, many years ago, but I do think it's important to make sure that you understand where these facts come from. And by the way, if you're listening instead of watching, I'm air quoting here. Facts come from before you take action on them or before you pass that information along. And if you do decide to pass it along, make sure you caveat that basically someone else told you this. I haven't checked it yet. It's unconfirmed, right? So sometimes, yes, you do want to pass on information and you haven't confirmed it. Just tell the person, I haven't confirmed it, but I was told that blah. Because when I don't do this, it's about a 50-50 shot that the information I got was unproven. It was wrong, right? And you look like a freaking moron when you pass on wrong information. So I've gotten into the habit of either challenging the person or looking it up myself before I take action on it or pass it on. And I think that that's a good thing for everyone to do in business. Don't just, hear and say. There's a reason that lawyers like to use that phrase. Well, that's hearsay because, it goes in one ear and maybe translated the wrong way in your head for whatever reason, and it pops out completely different or slightly different enough where it's not even correct. It wasn't correct coming in. It's not correct going out. And now it's less correct going out. So make sure the information you have is accurate. Either ask the person to prove it in however you want to ask them, probably in a very nice way, but prove it, or you prove it before taking action on it or passing it along to someone else. Hey there, it's Erik J. Olson. I wanted to let you know about my book, $1,000,000 Journey: How to Launch a Seven-Figure Business. This is the story of what it took for me to go from freelancer with no clients, no employees, no revenue, to growing a $1,000,000 business. It took me 8 years and I made a lot of mistakes. And all of those mistakes, and more importantly, lessons learned, are in this book. And we have chapter takeaways 5 to 15 takeaways that you could apply right now to your business. Check it out on Amazon, $1 Million Journey by me, Erik J. Olson.